Now let's start with the moment that set the internet on fire. Out of nowhere, people started noticing that Martell was suddenly posting pictures of his children, Malia, Boss Baby, Mariah, Sugar Mama, all smiles, tennis rackets in hand, and even posing with Serena Williams. On the surface, it looked wholesome, a proud dad cheering on his kids. But for folks who've been following this roller coaster of a story, it didn't sit right. Why? Because not long ago, Martell was the same man trying to stop Melody Shari, his ex-wife, and the mother of those same kids, from posting them online at all. The hypocrisy hit hard, and people called him out immediately. Now, if you've watched Love and Marriage Huntsville, you already know Martell Holt has never been the quiet type. The man has opinions for days and a need for control that could fill a whole season on its own. But this was next level. After all that noise about wanting to protect the children from public exposure, suddenly he's out here doing full photo ops. The internet didn't miss that. Comment after comment came in calling him out, saying things like, "Make it make sense," and "He's such a narcissist." And honestly, the word fits the way he's been moving. He wants to call the shots even when he's the one breaking his own rules. See, behind all the online posts and Instagram captions lies a deeper, ongoing legal war between Martell and Melody that's been dragging on since their divorce. And baby, that courtroom has seen it all. According to public records and reports, Martell tried to stop Melody from featuring their kids on the show, accusing her of using them for her own storyline. But let's not act like that show isn't what helped build their fame in the first place. Melody's been holding things down, raising those babies, pushing through every bit of public embarrassment, and still keeping her grace. Meanwhile, Martell's been fighting for control, not realizing that every time he tries to tear her down, he's only proving her point. Now, remember back in May 2024, when the headlines broke that Martell was found guilty of domestic violence through harassing communications? That came after he allegedly threatened to post an intimate video of Melody online. Let that sink in. That right there is not just petty. That's a line no real man should cross. The court found him guilty, and that judgment changed the tone of everything. It exposed the darker side of this situation, the side that showed how toxic this battle had become. After that, Melody made it clear she wanted peace, but she wasn't going to be bullied anymore. But even with that legal blow, Martell didn't stop. He kept filing motions, claiming Melody was misbehaving, saying she let the kids stay with her mother without giving him the first right of refusal. Child, you know that's always the line. Some men want to argue about who watches the kids, but when it's their turn to step up, suddenly they're too busy. Sound familiar? Melody supporters saw right through it. They've watched this pattern for years. Martell talks about being a devoted father, but when it's time to put in the real work, school runs, lessons, doctor visits, it's mostly Melody handling business. Still, the court wasn't blind. By October 2024, Melody scored another win. The judge ordered Martell to undergo a psychological evaluation, attend family counseling, and even pay Melody's attorney's fees. That decision hit like thunder because it showed the court was finally seeing through the act. Folks online celebrated, saying justice was being served, while Martell tried to act like everything was fine. But honey, nothing about this situation was fine. The tension was heavy, and the cracks were showing. What made everything even more frustrating for fans was the way Martell carried himself afterward. Instead of showing growth, he doubled down, posting the kids, making slick captions, smiling big for the camera like Daddy of the Year. Meanwhile, Melody stayed focused, taking care of her kids, working her businesses, showing quiet strength. And that difference in energy said everything. One was seeking peace, the other was seeking attention. Now let's talk about that tennis moment, because that picture with Serena Williams, oh baby, it had the internet buzzing. Martell clearly wanted to flex. But viewers remembered that Melody was the one who actually enrolled the kids in tennis in the first place. She paid for the classes, encouraged their talent, showed up for them consistently. Yet here was Martell, front and center, acting like he made it all happen. That's the kind of narcissistic move that drives people crazy. It's not about supporting the kids, it's about being seen supporting the kids. And then came the comments. One viewer wrote, "Typical deadbeat dad behavior. When the kids win, suddenly he's the best father ever." Another said, "He didn't even pay for one class, but he's taking all the credit." People were frustrated because it wasn't just about one photo. It was about a pattern, Martell trying to rewrite the narrative in his favor every single time. Meanwhile, Melody had to keep defending herself, not because she wanted drama, but because she was tired of being misrepresented. And child, let's not forget that reunion episode. Everyone saw it. Martell skipping court but showing up to film. He could have asked Carlos King, the show's producer, to reschedule so he could handle his family business, but he didn't. Instead, he chose the cameras. That decision spoke volumes. It made people wonder what his priorities really are. Is it about the kids, or is it about staying in the spotlight? Let's pause right here, because if you think this is where it ends, baby, we're only halfway through the storm. Stay with me to the end, because the next part digs into how this whole situation spiraled into public hypocrisy and how other cast members reacted behind the scenes. Keep listening, because we're about to get into what really pushed fans and maybe even the court over the edge. After that October ruling, Martell's behavior online became more unpredictable. He started sharing inspirational quotes one day and petty jabs the next. Melody, on the other hand, kept her focus. She posted little glimpses of peace, family moments, career wins, her kids laughing, and never once mentioned him by name. But you could tell the tension was still there. Every time Martell posted a family picture, the comments filled up with reminders of what he'd done. People weren't forgetting. Then came whispers that he was trying to appeal parts of the custody ruling, claiming Melody was being unfair. But here's the kicker. The same man who accused her of exploiting their kids for fame was now using those kids to polish his own image. It's like he didn't see the irony at all. And when folks called him out, he either ignored them or deleted the comments. That's what narcissists do. They rewrite reality to make themselves look like the victim. Now, baby, let's keep it real. No one's saying co-parenting with cameras in your face is easy. But Martell's track record makes it hard to give him the benefit of the doubt. Remember, this is the same man who spent years denying his own wrongdoing during his affair with Ariane Curry, another situation that blew up publicly. The same pattern of denial, projection, and manipulation keeps popping up. Melody tried to move on, rebuild her life, and set boundaries. Martell kept finding ways to drag her back into the mud. At this point, even cast members started reacting subtly. You could sense it during filming. People like Kimmy Scott and Marie Scott trying to stay neutral, while Marcel Scott occasionally threw slick jokes that cut deep. Letitia Scott kept her distance, knowing how messy it could get. Everyone knew that when it came to Martell and Melody, one small spark could turn into a wildfire. And honestly, sometimes it felt like Martell liked the chaos. It kept him relevant. It kept people talking. And oh, did they talk. Now let's add another layer, public perception. To the outside world, Martell wanted to look like a family man who made mistakes, but was trying to do better. But every move contradicted that story. You can't claim to protect your children's privacy and then post them for likes. You can't say you respect your ex-wife as a mother and then drag her through court every few months. That's not growth, that's ego. Meanwhile, Melody stayed 10 steps ahead. She didn't need to clap back because her wins spoke louder than words. Her businesses were growing, her music was charting, her kids were thriving, and you could see the glow on her face every time she appeared in public. It's like peace looked good on her. Even when Martell tried to provoke her through interviews or subtle digs, she handled it with class. That's what made her fans ride so hard for her. They saw the strength, the grace, the evolution. But let's not act like it didn't hurt. Anyone who's been through that kind of co-parenting war knows the emotional toll it takes. You could feel it in Melody's interviews when she talked about boundaries, peace, and protecting her kids. She wasn't just talking for show, she was talking from experience. The pain, the frustration, the disappointment, it was all real. And yet, she kept showing up, proving that no matter how hard Martell tried to control the narrative, truth always finds its way out. Now, here's where it gets even more intense. Some insiders claim Martell's psychological evaluation didn't go as smoothly as he hoped. The court wanted clarity on his emotional stability and parenting fitness. Those reports aren't public, but whispers online suggest the results didn't exactly favor him. That's why some fans believe his recent social media love bombing of the kids is less about affection and more about image repair. He's trying to show the world he's a loving father to offset whatever might come out later. And child, the irony keeps piling up. The same man who once told Melody not to post the kids because the internet is dangerous is now tagging celebrities and sharing hashtags about family goals. Make it sense. People online started pulling receipts, reposting old interviews where he said those exact words. You can't hide from your own quotes, especially when fans have screenshots. Let's also not forget the emotional manipulation that often happens in these situations. When a narcissistic person feels like they're losing control, they'll do anything to regain it. Guilt trips, public displays, or even pretending to be the victim. Martell's recent behavior fits that playbook. Every new post, every sudden act of fatherly pride feels like a performance aimed at convincing the public, and maybe even himself, that he's the hero of this story. But the audience isn't buying it anymore. People have watched this saga unfold for too long. They've seen the tears, the arguments, the contradictions. They've seen Melody break down and rebuild, and they've seen Martell repeat the same cycles. The sympathy he once had is fading fast, replaced by frustration and disbelief. Still, some fans hold out hope that maybe, just maybe, he'll finally take accountability. Because beneath all the ego and the drama, there's a father who could still do right by his kids if he just humbled himself. It's not too late, but it requires real change, not just photo ops. Those children deserve stability, not constant court filings and online shade. Now, baby, when I tell you the internet was lit up like a Christmas tree after that, I mean every comment section was on fire. People were calling out the hypocrisy, the double standards, and that need Martell has to control the story even when the truth is right there for everybody to see. It's like he doesn't understand that people remember. They remember the court filings, the interviews, the shade, and the constant blame game. You can't erase history just by posting a cute picture. But you know what? That's exactly what Martell's been trying to do. Rewrite the story one smiling photo at a time. And you could tell that even the other cast members were starting to get tired of it. You could see it in their faces during interviews, that silent, here we go again energy. Carlos King tried to play the middle as always, but even he couldn't hide that look when the conversation turned toward Martell's behavior. Kimmy Scott, always the voice of reason, tried to keep things neutral, talking about co-parenting being complicated and everyone needing grace. But come on now, even Kimmy's patience has limits. Marcel Scott, on the other hand, never missed a chance to throw a little shade disguised as humor. He'd crack a joke that left the room half laughing and half holding their breath. And you know how Letitia Scott gets when things get messy. She'll say it's none of her business, but that look on her face says she's thinking plenty. The truth is, everyone's tired because this story never ends. Every time it seems like peace is on the horizon, Martell finds a way to pull things right back into chaos. And what makes it worse is that the kids are caught in the middle. Melanie has made it clear over and over again that her main focus is protecting her children, giving them a sense of normalcy despite the cameras and the headlines. But Martell? He seems more concerned with proving a point. And that's where things get truly heartbreaking. Because when you strip away the fame, the show, the money, what's left are four innocent children watching their parents battle it out for control instead of peace. That's what hits people the hardest. It's not just entertainment, it's a family being pulled in different directions because one parent can't let go of his pride. Melody, to her credit, keeps taking the high road. Even when she could clap back, even when she could drag him publicly, she chooses silence. That kind of discipline is rare, especially in reality TV, where drama equals ratings. But she's made it clear that her healing is more important than headlines. Now, let's talk about the court's perspective, because this is where things got even more serious. When the judge ordered that psychological evaluation, that wasn't just routine. That was the court saying, we need to understand what's going on behind these outbursts. That means there were enough red flags to make the court take a deeper look at Martell's mindset. And that had to sting his ego. For a man who's always wanted to be seen as in control, being told to sit down and get evaluated probably hit hard. But it was necessary. Those kids need stability, and the court saw that. And when the judge added that he had to pay Melody's legal fees, whoo, child, that was the cherry on the top. Because for years, Martell's been trying to flip the script, painting himself as the victim, saying Melody was using the system against him. But that ruling sent a message loud and clear. Accountability matters. You can't keep weaponizing the court just to control your ex. You can't keep trying to punish her for moving on. At some point, the law steps in and says enough is enough. But even with all that, Martell couldn't resist making moves online. You'd think that after all the backlash, he'd lay low, focus on his kids privately, and rebuild his image quietly. But no, honey, Martell doubled down. More pictures, more captions, more proud dad moments. The same fans who once rooted for him during his early Love and Manage Huntsville days were now the same ones dragging him in the comments. People weren't fooled anymore. They saw it for what it was, damage control, not genuine change. And let's not forget how the public's been keeping receipts. You can't hide anything from the internet. Every old clip, every quote, every interview resurfaced. The one where he said Melody shouldn't post the kids, it's back. The one where he said he didn't want them on TV, back. And the one where he claimed he wanted to protect them from fame, back and booming. Fans stitched those clips together like a timeline, showing exactly how his actions contradicted every word he said. It became impossible to ignore. But what makes this story so powerful and painful is that it's about more than just Martell and Melody. It's about control, ego, image, and how far people will go to protect their pride. Martell's struggle isn't just with Melody, it's with himself. Every move he makes screams insecurity. Every attempt to outshine Melody only proves he's still competing with her even though she's moved on emotionally, spiritually, and professionally. And that's what makes this whole situation so tragic. Instead of focusing on healing and co-parenting, he's stuck trying to win a game that no one else is playing. And while all of this is happening, the fans keep watching. Every post, every story, every public appearance becomes part of the ongoing soap opera. People debate in comment sections, take sides, and relive every messy detail. Some folks defend Martell, saying he's just trying to be a father in the spotlight. Others say he's manipulative and controlling. The divide is sharp, but the pattern is clear. Martell keeps making choices that feed the drama instead of ending it. And let's not forget the other layer of this story, how Carlos King and the production side play into it. Producers love a storyline that keeps viewers coming back, and Martell's chaos does exactly that. But there's a fine line between creating reality TV drama and exploiting real family pain. The show thrives on tension, and Martell's actions often give them plenty of it. But for Melody, that means constantly reliving trauma she's trying to move past. It's complicated because both of them built their fame through that platform, but now it's the same stage that keeps their wounds open.